What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Ox here with another video. If you're new to the channel, we do upload Pokemon Go content mostly related to PvP, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber like Brown Brownie, thank you for the support. In today's video, we are taking a look at my go-to team for Season 6 of Go Battle League in the Great League. And this is a team I featured a couple of videos ago with Pelipper in the lead, Galarian Stunfisk, and then I replaced Toxicroak, took it out, put in Defense Deoxys. I feel that it's just so strong as a safe switch that it really does bring this team up to another level. With that said, if you do not have Defense Deoxys, I think Toxicroak works just as fine on this team and you'll get just as many wins. Now, if you don't have Pelipper, I would probably recommend trying a different line because Pelipper is pretty integral to making this line work. So with this team, I have been able to get my win rates up to about 70%. It has been working very well for me. I am currently in rank 18, so we're not at the highest ranks of battles yet, but I am taking the season quite slow. Don't want to get to 20 on very slow queue time, so I have missed a bunch of sets so far this season. Totally fine with it. At the end of the day, you're going to get to where you need to finish the season eventually, so totally fine with me. If you guys enjoy these types of videos, please smash that like button. Helps the channel grow, and without any further ado, let's get into the first battle right now. Alright, so let's jump right into these battles. We do have a lot of them in store for you in today's video. So Row 3 VA 1SC here in the first match. Pelipper into a Stunfisk. This is the regular variant of Stunfisk. So this is very difficult. Going to switch out into my safe switch, Defense Deoxys. Get met by the least safe switch there is for Deoxys, which is an Umbreon. Super hard counter city right here. Gonna get hit by a foul play. What I'm thinking here is that I'm not going to be able to win this match, so I'm going to burn a shield here, and I'm hoping that I can get a shield in return, get this match to the 1 shield point, and then hopefully I can get the Umbreon into the red. Once I do that, I'll be able to come in with Pelipper and just commit to a straight farm down. And what I want to do from that point is have 2 Weather Balls ready to throw at the Stunfisk. So because the Stunfisk will only have 1 shield, they won't be able to shield them both. And I'm hoping I can get a big enough energy lead to hit them with back-to-back after getting their first shield. So you can see here, I'm going to get hit by a move, I'm going to let that go. Commit to the straight farm down. Opponent doesn't want to switch out because they want to keep alignment here. So just commit to the straight farm down. We have 100 energy about right now. Gonna throw this Weather Ball. This is going to be doing super effective damage to Stunfisk, so it does get the shield there. And I'm going to spam the second one. Now I'm hoping that I could get to this third Weather Ball before it gets to a move. So let's see if I could do that. I do have a shield just in case I'm not able to, but as you can see, I do beat it to the move. Will this be enough to KO? It is. So now I bring in the Stunfisk, Altaria in the back. We're going to take that game, coming back from a very difficult lead and a very difficult switch in as well. Sapiens here in the next matchup, Pelipper into Stunfisk. Apparently this actually isn't that bad of a matchup for Pelipper, so I'm going to go for the Weather Ball here, and then I'm going to try and catch the Rock Slide onto my Deoxys. That's usually the way I like to play this. Unfortunately, the opponent doesn't throw there, so I switched out a bit too early. I do beat the Stunfisk to Weather Ball, so I should have waited a bit more if I wanted to catch that, but fortunately for me, the opponent did throw Rock Slide, so that's very good. I did burn a shield thinking it was an Earthquake, but it happens to only be a Rock Slide. And it looks like they're going to stay in this match, so I'm actually going to commit to the farm down, but he switches out last second into the Deoxys. At this point, I have a huge energy lead, so I'm okay with this. Going to go for the Thunderbolt here, doing slightly bit more damage, but they're more or less the same energy efficiency. And the opponent's going to throw the move here. I find that a lot of times when you throw the Thunderbolt, the opponent feels obliged to throw the Thunderbolt as well in return. Here I'm going to throw the Rock Slide. I think if I went for Thunderbolt, I might have KO'd, but didn't think I'd get there. Apparently I would have, but I get farmed down here. Totally fine because I could bring in Stunfisk now, and Stunfisk kind of walls Deoxys in terms of its charge moves, so opponent switches out into Dewgong, so they clearly do not have a good answer for this Stunfisk in the back. Gonna throw these Rock Slides here at the Dewgong before an Icy Wind comes out. Very happy with this, and I'm gonna switch out into my Pelipper after this because, well, I'm gonna shield here first, and the reason I shield is because I didn't want to get hit by the Water Pulse, obviously. Gonna build to Rock Slide, switch out into the Pelipper. Want to keep that Rock Slide for when I'm not debuffed. The reason I'm switching out is because the Stunfisk is necessary in order to tank those moves that the Deoxys has ready in the back. None of those moves are going to be threatening my Stunfisk, whereas they would do a lot of damage to my Pelipper. So I'd rather the Pelipper come in here, take this damage and whatnot, and then just bring the Stunfisk to close out this match. So Icy Wind comes through, it's going to KO. I'm going to come in, throw the Rock Slide here before I get debuffed. This will knock out the Dewgong, and then Deoxys is going to come in. Even if this Deoxys had 100 energy, wouldn't be able to do anything. You're going to see it's going to throw these Rock Slides, but they're really not going to do anything. to my Stunfisk, I'll be able to tank them both and just commit to the straight farm down here with a Mud Shot. So we're going to take this game here. A pretty decent matchup there, I guess, in the lead, the Stunfisk, but we did switch out. Next match, Noki Red, who is a subscriber to the channel, so shout out to you. Toxicroak into my Pelipper, a very good matchup for us, so the opponent switched out into Obstagoon. And at this point, I should probably just be switching out into the Deoxys right away, because that's a very good matchup against Obstagoon. I decided to throw the Weather Ball here, and I'm going to build up a bit more energy. At this point, I realized because I stayed in so long, I have to take this Night Slash onto the Pelipper before I bring in the Obstagoon. Opponent does get the boost there, so this Night Slash is actually going to hurt Deoxys a lot, so good thing I did switch in late, and now I'm going to farm down completely. Opponent should bring back in the Toxicroak here. And I'm just going to throw the Rock Slides here, just try and do some chip damage. And then once the Deoxys goes down, I'm going to bring back in the Pelipper here. So the opponent is going to throw the Mud Bomb. Don't want to get hit by another move there, so I'm going to let this go down. And bring back in the Pelipper. Would expect them to be switching out most likely once the Pelipper comes in. Waiting for my switch timer so that I can switch into the Stunfisk. Skarmory comes in. I'm going to build up to 2 Weather Balls. Bring in the Stunfisk here. Stunfisk obviously has a very good match against Skarmory, so we're in a good position here. I know that this might not get any shields from Skarmory, that's why I thought it was important to have the 2 Weather Balls in the back ready on the Pelipper, because that Toxicroak could be an issue. And the main thing for me here was that I wanted to ensure that I was always at 100 energy, because I am a little bit behind on the switch timer. They are desynced, so what I want to do is throw the Rock Slide. I'm expecting him to switch out into the Toxicroak, and I want to have the second Rock Slide ready, as you see here, just to ensure that my timer goes back up and I'm able to switch out once the Rock Slide throws. So you could see there, I did do that. Bring in the Pelipper, you're going to throw the Weather Ball, it's going to get the shield. I have another Weather Ball ready. At this point, the opponent is going to have a difficult decision here to shield or to let it go. Choose to let it go because the Skarmory has a lot of energy here. I'm going to get to another Weather Ball so you can see how oppressive this Pelipper is. This is going to get the final shield. And at this point, I just have to come in with the Stunfisk once I get farmed down. Use both shields because he is going to have 2 moves ready. And then pretty much either commit to the farm down or just get to the Rock Slide. I probably should get to the Rock Slide here after he throws all his energy anyways, because he will be dry. So I do get to the Rock Slide here. This is going to be enough to knock out the Skarmory. We're going to take that game. Very well played. Shout out to Noki Red once again. Thank you for your support on the channel. And that was the first set where we got into rank 17. So next matchup here, Christian EVM Kinney, Pelipper into Galvantula, very difficult lead. One of the most difficult leads for Pelipper, so I'm going to switch out into Deoxys, and obviously Deoxys isn't a good counter for Galvantula, but the opponent has an even better counter for Deoxys in the back in Umbreon, so again, hard counter city. So I'm going to come in here, throw the Thunderbolts. Technically Rock Slide is a bit better to throw here. They're pretty similar, but I think Rock Slide is slightly better energy efficiency. But I guess Thunderbolt does do slightly more damage if you can only throw once, so it could go both ways. I think in this case it actually worked out very well for us because we do get the shield there. And the opponent's in the red, so it's basically the same situation as last time, right? We're going to get KO'd. I'm going to bring in the Pelipper, look to farm down completely. This time it looks like the Umbreon is slightly less health than the previous time, so I won't be able to farm up as much, but it's still totally fine here. I'm going to get to about 1.5 Weather Balls. The Galvantula is going to come back in. I'm going to throw this Weather Ball here. Let's see if we can get the shield. We do, and I'm going to bring in the Stunfisk now. Opponent has 0 shields, so even though Toxicroak's a very hard counter, shields down, Earthquake is going to KO. I have to shield here because I need as much health as possible on this Stunfisk for the Galvantula in the back. I'm going to throw this Earthquake here right away because I want to preserve my health. Knocks out the Toxicroak. Galvantula comes back in. Basically, all I have to do is get to an Earthquake and this is going to be game over. Galvantula cannot do anything to me. Lunge, Discharge. I guess if I had an Energy Ball, it could be a threat, but nobody runs Energy Ball on their Galvantulas. Gonna throw the Earthquake here, that's gonna KO. We are going to take this game. So let's move into the next matchup. Nokura 4. Going to be leading Pelipper into SirFetch'd. So again, a pretty awesome lead for Pelipper here. Opponent switches out into Umbreon. I misclicked here and I bring in the Deoxys. Obviously, you never want to bring in Deoxys into Umbreon. So at this point, I'm hitting myself on the head, banging my head against the wall, throwing this Christmas tree at the ground, and I'm cursing. So what happened here, basically, I saw the dark type and I was like, oh, bring in the, it's Obstagoon, but like obviously Obstagoon's not pure dark, so it's just a stupid misplay on my part. Then I get the low battery signal. Everything's going wrong in this match. I decide to just let this go down. And I'm down a shield because the opponent didn't want to shield theirs because they got an energy leak because they came in first, right? It was me who made the mistakes. So I'm going to play this the same way. Farm down completely. Have 2 Weather Balls ready for the SirFetch'd. This still is playable. And now I don't want to have the SirFetch'd aligned onto my Stunfisk, of course. So I'm going to just stay in here, throw these Weather Balls, get 1 shield, and I should be able to farm down here after shielding this move. So let's see if the opponent stays in or allows me to farm them down. They are going to stay in. And they bring in, what is this, a Victreebel? I couldn't really see what that was at the end there. No, it's a Beedrill, okay. So I bring in the Stunfisk here. Opponent still has a shield, so I'm going to get hit by a Drill Run. Drill Run's going to be doing a lot of damage. I need to get to 2 Rock Slides here before the opponent gets to another Drill Run. Will I be able to do it? Gonna throw the first Rock Slide there. I did deny the fast move, which is very good. Just need 2 more Mud Shots here. 1, 2, boom, there it is. Rock Slide gonna come through. We are gonna take this game despite the mistake I made there in the secondary matchup with Deoxys into Umbreon. Leo Sanders 10 here in the next match. Going to lead Pelipper into Bastiodon, one of the worst leads you could see for Pelipper. This is probably worse than Galvantula. Debatable. Deoxys comes in and the opponent brings in Victreebel. The thing is, when you see Bastiodon, you kind of know what line's going to be in the back, right? It's most likely going to be Double Grass. And this team does very, very well against Double Grass. So when I bring in Deoxys here, I don't care to win this match. I just care about getting both shields. So I'm going to throw the Rock Slide here. We get both shields. I'm going to let it go down now. Totally fine. Now I'm going to bring in the Pelipper. Pelipper has a pretty neutral matchup against Victreebel. It's not amazing, but it's not awful. Get hit by the Acid Spray, which isn't good. I'm going to throw the Weather Ball now because it was an Acid Spray. I don't want to get hit by more Razor Leaf damage. Opponent's going to bring in the Bastiodon. I'm going to instantly switch on to Stunfisk, expecting there to be another Grass type in the back, so this isn't too optimal. I'm going to take this move, I think, here, the Flamethrower. No, I'm going to shield. It's a Stone Edge, too. I get baited by Stone Edge. Opponent has a Haunter in the back. Like, this is, what is this line? So, 1 shot with the Earthquake. I've never seen this variation of the Bastiodon Victreebel core, but it's pretty interesting, actually. And then Stunfisk gonna just clean house here. Bastiodon and Haunter both getting 1 shot by the Earthquakes. Very, very good win there. Wah 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 wah, 996 here. Next matchup, Pelipper into Altaria. So if you watched my previous video where I had Toxicroak in the back, I would stay in this matchup against Altaria with the Pelipper because there really wasn't a switch. With the Deoxys, I could kind of bring that into Altaria and have a safe switch in a sense, keep my Pelipper alive. Now the opponent makes a mistake here and brings in Ferrothorn into a Deoxys, which is definitely not something you want to do. Deoxys is going to destroy Ferrothorn just from counter damage, so I'm gonna throw this Rock Slide. These moves aren't doing anything to the Ferrothorn, but because of that counter damage being so oppressive, we are going to take Switch here, and I'm willing to give up Shield in order to take back Switch because aligning that Stunfisk onto the Altaria is basically a free shield in itself. So Altaria comes in here. I'm gonna let this go down. No point to shield here. Bring in Altaria, which is hard counter city but reversed. And the opponent is going to switch out into Azumarill. I'm actually going to throw the Earthquake here, just get some damage done. See if we get the shield. We do not see the shield come up. Just going to bring Pelipper here. And we're going to get hit by a move here. I'm going to let the first one go through. Nothing is going to KO. The Pelipper Ice Beam comes. I'm going to build up for the Hurricane here. But I'm probably going to throw the Weather Ball. Yes, I am going to throw the Weather Ball because I'm expecting to get shields at this point now. So there's no point to throw the Hurricane. Just going to go for another Weather Ball. We're applying a lot of shield pressure at this point, and these wing attacks are adding up. So the opponent burns both shields there. I'm in a very good spot here. I'm going to choose to let this go down and bring in the Stunfisk here. Now, worst case scenario, we get the Earthquake to land on the Altaria. That was probably a win condition for the opponent there. Thankfully for us, they did not switch out. So at this point, it is game over. Pretty much just shield up here and get to 2 Rock Slides, which is going to be enough to win this game. So Altaria, difficult lead, but as you can see, we were able to come back from that in large part because we did get the matchup. We did get switch advantage back in our favor from that Ferrothorn into Deoxys matchup. But I guess the opponent didn't really have a safe switch for Deoxys on this team. If you think about it, they had either Azumarill or they had Ferrothorn, so they didn't really have too many options, just bad team comp in general for the specific team alignment there. So Onslaught T. Here in the next match, Pelipper into Deoxys, so a very difficult matchup for Pelipper. We could win this in the 2 shields, but I generally do not like to play that way with Pelipper. So I'm going to throw the Weather Ball here, and I'm going to look to catch the Rock Slide, onto my Deoxys. So again, did not time it correctly. Opponent brings an Obstagoon, so we were getting just gifted switch advantage here in these matches. And yeah, like this is just pretty straightforward here. Night Slash isn't going to KO, so I'm going to leave this in here to absorb the damage. You can see it doesn't do anything. Farm down completely, and we have energy ready to go now. They bring back in their own Deoxys. We may even be able to win the secondary matchup at this point. Thunderbolt comes through. I'm going to go for the Rock Slide here, hoping I can get to a second one before they throw another move. I think at this point they will commit to the farm down most likely. So I do get to the Rock Slide. This may get a shield from the opponent. I believe they will survive just by a hair, but they do choose to shield. So now we're up 2 shields. Opponent brings in Vigoroth. I'm going to throw this Rock Slide here before switching out back into my Pelipper. And this is pretty much game over. 2 shields here against Pelipper. 1 Weather Ball is going to put it very low in the red, and then I could just farm down with Wing Attack. And we still have another shield ready, so this is pretty much GG's because that Deoxys isn't going to be able to do anything to my Stunfisk in the back. I love that little celebration dance the Pelipper does there. So that was a 5-0 set, and we're going to move into the next matches here. Brian Leo 1608. Obviously these aren't all the battles. I'm just showcasing the more interesting ones. Pelipper into Vigoroth here. And most of them were positive sets. I didn't have a single negative set, so things did go really well with this team. Obviously, I'm getting some pretty favorable situations here with these switches, but Pelipper into Vigoroth. Gonna throw the Weather Ball here. Gonna throw another Weather Ball. This is generally a very good lead for Pelipper, but my opponent did pull out some pretty interesting plays here and actually managed to get back-to-back body slams in this situation. So he actually forced me to burn both shields, and this ended up turning into a situation where he would have ended up winning the 1 shield match, which I found very interesting. Opponent brings in Hypno, so he did leave with energy on the Vigoroth, and I'm going to switch out here, or I'm going to get farmed down rather. And here I have a difficult decision because if this thing has Shadow Ball, I have no shields. Don't want to bring in Deoxys. If it has Focus Blast, it's going to KO the Stunfisk, but most likely the Shadow version very rarely has Focus Blast, but sometimes does have Shadow Ball. So I decided to bring in the Stunfisk. Clearly this is a situation where Deoxys would have done better because it does not have Shadow Ball. As you can see, it's running Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, but this is still totally playable because if you have something like Azumarill in the back, Deoxys is going to be needed. So here I expect him to switch out as soon as he throws this move, so I'm clicking Deoxys right away to farm down that Vigoroth. As you see there, we were correct on a read. He did look to switch out immediately, but I read that as it was and brought out my Deoxys. Get a bit of an energy lead here, and now shields down, Deoxys into Azumarill is a GG. We're going to beat it to 2 Thunderbolts, which is going to knock out the Azumarill, and we're going to win this game here. So the Hypno is still in the back, but it's very low in health. I think like 1 or 2 counters will get rid of it. And we still have the Stunfisk in the back as well. So we're going to take this game. GG's to the opponent there. Let's move into the next one. Nara 6307 KE. Leading Pelipper into Drifblim. So the Drifblim matchup, if you look at it on PV Poke, looks like it's quite bad for Pelipper actually, but from my experience, it's actually pretty good. And it's a little deceiving because they need to land the Shadow Ball in order to win. So I'm actually going to let this first one go through. It is an Icy Wind. And I'm going to go for the Weather Balls here. And as you're going to see, I'm actually outpacing it to these moves. So I am going to get to another Weather Ball after shielding this. And that next Weather Ball is going to put it into the red where I could farm down with Wing Attack before it gets to another move. So I'm actually going to end up taking this game in the 1 shield and have energy for the next Pokemon. So very good. Happens to be a Swampert. Swampert in the back is very difficult for this team because it beats both Stunfisk and Deoxys. So my play here is to switch out into Deoxys to catch this Hydro Cannon, which we're able to do, storing some energy on the Pelipper because I need that Pelipper to take out this Swampert in the end. So gonna get hit by another Hydro Cannon here, gonna let it go through. At this point, I just want to get off a charge move, either get this Swampert very low or get the last shield. Either way is fine for me because once I get the Swampert out of the way, I think it's very unlikely that they will have a Stunfisk in the back, or sorry, a counter for Stunfisk in the back. So the opponent throws energy here, which is amazing for me. Gonna be able to bring in Pelipper here, and now that he's dry on energy, I should be able to beat it to this Weather Ball. I do. This is going to knock out the Swampert, and now let's see what they have in the back. Do they have another hard counter for Stunfisk? No, they have their own. Because I have a shield, this is pretty much game over, so we're gonna take this matchup there. Sosi Romami in the next matchup here, going to be leading Pelipper into Azumarill. Azumarill into Pelipper is a Pretty solid matchup for Pelipper, to be honest. We could just go straight Hurricanes here. Don't have to shield this first move, but you could if you want. I do shield. You're gonna have to shield at least one move, right? Either the first or the second. So this time I decided to shield the first one because it did seem like a play rough. If it was Ice Beam, I'd probably let it go. But the play rough does slightly more damage, so I do shield. At this point, I'm gonna let the second move go through. No point to shield here. I'm gonna throw the Hurricane. Hurricane's gonna put it extremely low to the point in which I could just apply pressure with Weather Ball, farm down with Wing Attack. Because it actually is running play rough and not Ice Beam only, I am able to farm down in that situation, so that worked out really well for me. Opponent brings out the Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is very, very difficult for this line, and this is actually a double dark line, or no, not double dark. This is Mandibuzz. What do we have in the back? We're gonna see. I don't remember, but yeah, Mandibuzz is very difficult. Brings in Marowak. Not much I can really do here because there's a shield. I'm gonna get the shield here, of course, but Deoxys into Mandibuzz isn't the greatest matchup, so this is pretty tough. I tried to beat it to the rock slide, not able to, so at this point I realized the game's over. So I just let this go through. And I'm gonna bring in the Deoxys here, but I realize now that there's no coming back from this. I mean, maybe I gave up a bit too soon, but I just decided to surrender that match. Didn't really think there was a win condition there. Into the next matchup, Pang Chun Xiao, another Drifblim lead. Pelipper into Drifblim. So again, as you saw in the last match, I like to throw the Weather Ball right away just to make sure that I get off a move before it's debuffed by Icy Wind. And I think in this situation, this is obviously an Icy Wind at this point, but I think once the opponent gets hit by the first move, they should consider at least baiting the Shadow Ball, if anything. So in that case, they just threw right away, so it's pretty obvious it was an Icy Wind. I'm going to throw the Weather Ball here. Opponent is going to get another move off. At this point, I'm going to shield. And I believe now I'm not going to look to farm down. I'll probably look to throw the Weather Ball. Yeah, because they'll probably get to another move if I don't throw here. So the Weather Ball comes through. They are going to let that go down. We win switch. Opponent brings in a Azumarill. I'm going to look to get to this Hurricane, or will I look to switch out? Yes, I look to switch out into Deoxys, catch the move, get met by a Marowak. So this isn't too bad because I have the Stunfisk in the back still for this Marowak, and I have my Pelipper with energy for the Azumarill. Still a pretty tight spot, but letting the rock slide go through there was pretty huge for me, because at this point now I will be able to hit another rock slide and get the final shield from the Marowak. And they're going to farm me down, that's totally fine. I will bring in the Stunfisk here and just get... Oh no, I'm going to bring in the Pelipper because I have the energy rate. This is actually a much better play because now I don't have to take any damage onto Stunfisk. Shields were down. Switch onto Stunfisk to catch this move, which will not be a Hydro Pump now. Another Ice Beam. And yeah, that was very, very well played. I was much more into the actual game during the battle than I am here looking at it once again, because that was definitely the right play there. So I'm going to go for the Earthquake here. Shields are down. Should be able to shield up to stand. No, actually, I don't think I would be able to because I think it would farm me down. So I just threw the Rock Slide to make sure I get off damage and get farmed down. Bring in the Pelipper here. Shield this up and I should be able to get to this Weather Ball because you cannot store back-to-back Ice Beams. So even if this was CMP here, I would win with the Weather Ball and take this game. So GG's to the opponent there. So that was the team I have been using for the past week to great success. Definitely a very strong team and a team that I recommend you test out if you have the resources available to you. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on Monday for some Open Ultra League content. Take care.